Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, and I have got the last 5 in this set of otter type papers, although I don't think an otter appears on today's cards, that I started at the beginning of the month using Kendra's card challenge. So this is cards 11 through to 15, so the last 5, and yeah, not much to say really. I'll still waffle for 10 minutes, but don't have huge amounts to say. I will admit I have not, I'm perfectly honest, I will not say I've enjoyed this set of templates quite as much, because I think there were quite a few that were a bit fiddly like this, with these tiny little strips and needing to be sort of like careful on your placement of them and stuff. It was a little bit more fiddly and a little bit more brain power than I would normally like. Having said all of that, I have loved the final outcomes on all of these cards, but you can see here I'm totally and utterly like fiddling around trying to work out what goes where, and yeah, I'm not a measuring person, and I'm not a complicated person. I deal with complicated stuff in my day-to-day life, my working life, etc. I do not need complications when it comes to my crafting. So yeah, I did find it a bit fiddly, which makes me a little bit nervous, because I know that the challenge number 23 has got some even tinier looking complicated ones from when I printed it off a few weeks ago. Okay, once I've got that one down, I am just gonna clean up, because I got glue everywhere, including all over my trimmer here, and then just clean up the edges by trimming them off rather than actually using the scissors to do that. And then I decided it actually, to me, looked better if it was landscape, not portrait. And sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you just choose and you go, not sure, yes, prefer it that way. So sketches are very much jumping off points and something to use as you are creating, to give you a bit of a guide. Don't have to follow it, and I didn't. On this one, I decided against adding any focal features. I am putting in that large sentiment of the For You, which is an Alex Siberia die, and then a few of the stars that I had die cut. I just thought it brought some colour into that final piece at the bottom. And that was card 11. Now we're on to card 13. I'll explain why on 12 later on. So we're on to 13, and this one I did again have to just do some slight adjustments. I love that pattern paper though, can I just say that leafy one is fabulous. But I don't like those fish swimming up and down. I like the fish swimming left to right. I don't know why, but it upsets me to have them the other way around. So I do turn the banner pieces so they become sort of like squat dumpy type ones. I don't know any other way of describing that other than that's what they end up being, rather than ones that come further down the page. I don't mind that, because it means there's more of that beautiful leafy print visible, but yeah, it is slightly different from the original design. I decided to emboss just that top part of the little banner, just to bring in a little bit of texture and to break it up a little bit, because obviously a little bit grey, it's a bit dull. And then I'm just adding the banners on straight on. I'm not using any adhesive foam or anything to bump them up. They are as they are. And then I need to go and choose a sentiment. I am grabbing for all of these cards sentiments that were already made. I did not want to go to the effort of doing brand new stuff, and that's the reason why I will occasionally have a whole session where I just make loads of sentiments, stick them in pouches, and then they're ready to go. And this is one of those. Because I've done it with the black, I decide I want to just add in a bit of black to just balance it. So I'm going to add 3 card candy just along the bottom of my card, in the bottom left hand corner, and I think that gives it a nice balance. Okay, we're on to number 14. Now, not long before I started on this, I had received the July embellishment kit from Hey Little Magpie, and it included these lovely sparkly, what are they called? Starfish. Gosh, just had a mind freeze there. Starfish. So I decided to use them as embellishments. Again, this is another template that I slightly struggled with getting the placement right. I think it works fine for the final piece, but yeah, it wasn't brilliantly. I don't know if I've cut it slightly wrong or something, but I just couldn't quite get it to align. Now on this template, she did suggest in Kendra's notes to emboss these pieces, so I took her word and went, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. Don't have to, but I did. I did use the fern embossing folder for both this one and the previous one. I know ferns aren't underwater things, but I just thought it worked on these small pieces to look enough like bits of seaweed or something. Okay, I'm adding in my focal feature. Ahead of doing this particular set, I had done some cut aparts of the otter paper, and then I had also done some seaside themed stamped images. So this was like a little bottle under the water with shells and seaweed, perfect to go with these particular papers. And then, as I say, those 3 sparkly look, the word went again, starfish, I think are just perfect. And then just added in my happy birthday little sentiment. Did I say happy birthday? Yeah, happy birthday on that one. Okay, that was number 14. Now on to 15, and this one I went completely different. The only piece of the pattern paper that there is that small piece of sea green. The rest of it's all just solid cardstock. So, started off by embossing the background. This I used an old Stampin' Up one. And then started sticking things down. And then when I went and chose the sentiment, I chose a sentiment that got kind of a dark purple to the background, like the shadow layer of the sentiment. And it was, again, another Alex Siberia one that's been cut previously. But yeah, I think it's like Blackberry Bliss or something in the background. So it's dark purple. And I just thought, right, what can I add with this? Because I'd got a couple of otters and that was it left in my focal features. So I remembered I'd got these birds that came with the Snow-Capped Holidays dies that I had done a whole load of them, probably back in December, January time, that I've been sitting in the pouch. I've got 2 left now, but I had 4. So yeah, added these in. And they were just perfectly themed in terms of the colours. They worked well with it, with those little blueberries on the little sprig. And then, oops, did manage to drop that, so made a bit of a mess, but never mind. And then added my little birds on, and it creates a completely different look from all of the others. But because the pattern paper didn't have those focal elements, it worked perfectly fine. Okay, so this is actually card 12. Unfortunately, I lost the footage. I don't know what happened. Something wasn't working right, and it deleted the footage off my phone as it was filming. So I didn't have the one putting it together. You can see there is some embossing to the background panel of the cardstock. You've got your 3 pattern papers as little banners, and then a pattern paper going across. Just added the die cut, the little die cut stars, and then the little seagull. So it was a simple card. Apologies that the footage has disappeared. Don't know what happened, but there you go. And now we're on to the close-ups of all of the cards. As I say, I didn't enjoy working with this template as much as I have done previous ones. I found a few of them quite fiddly. But I do really love the final cards. I think that they're all cute. They're all a bit different in their own way. As I said, this paper was actually gifted to me by my friend Trisha when I'd put in a Stampin' Up order. She sent it through. So it's not papers I would have chosen, to buy. But oh my goodness, they were cute to work with. It was also good to have a little hunt through the stash and use up bits and pieces that were already made, like those birds, like some of the sentiments that are in there. And I don't feel like I've got anything gone to waste because I've used up nearly all of it. I'm going to do a very quick little video showing the insides of the cards for all 15 because I have filmed that, so I will share that. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.